Within the context of politics, we are always told to respect authority. Authority is a specific organization that is able to control our world. They have somewhat a better understanding of the issues that are faced by our society. Now that is a misconception, that is a misconceived notion that we have promulgated as members of society for an exceedingly long period of time. Now basically what I'm here to tell you is that there is a need for us to challenge whatever is occurring within the status quo. There is a need for us to understand that maybe it's a case where authorities are not really the best body to deal with all the issues that we have at hand at this particular point in time. Now, this particular misconceived notion, this particular misconception that authority is the best way to deal with every single situation out there, has been there for an exceedingly long period of time, and has its roots in the development or the mannerism in which our society has developed for an exceedingly long period of time. So in the early 17th century, we were told that individuals of a specific bloodline were somehow more intellectually superior to us and therefore more capable of dealing with situations. These people were called the aristocrats. Now that specific notion was still engendered within our society up until the 1920s. Social commentaries written by famous authors such as F. Scott Fitzgerald in the book The Great Gatsby, indicated that society was still made up of individuals that still associated themselves as being part of the aristocracy. For example, in the regions described within the book, we see that the East Egg was full of individuals that were known as aristocrats, or individuals that had gained their positions and that had gained their wealth as a result of bloodlines and basically whatever was gained by the previous generation being passed down to the other. And then in the West Egg, on the other hand, we had individuals that had made their money on their own. These individuals were people who were basically capitalists, and out of which Gatsby was one of those capitalists, although he was one of the bootleggers at that particular period in time. And it is seen in the book, we see a parallel between these two societies, in the sense that individuals thriving in the East Egg, or the aristocrats, always deemed themselves as being far more superior to any other individual out there, regardless of their economic standing. Gatsby was clearly more richer than any individual thriving on the East Egg. However, there was still this superiority complex that was generated within the individuals that so-called had the authority at that particular period in time. So it is a case where we see that authority has often been told as being the people that are supposed to deal with your problems. They are the people that have the power, and they are the people that can solve your problems. But really, around the world at this particular point in time, we see that it might not be a case where authority is the best way to work, is the best way to move forward. A metaphor for why we understand that authority has been given such power was even in the formation of the United Nations itself. Now, all of us think that the United Nations was a body to install peace and security within the world, but really, the majority of the power lies in these 5 countries known as the Permanent 5 Nations. And the Permanent 5 Nations, lo and behold, are the individuals or are the countries that somehow deem themselves as the people that won World War II. Now, these victors of a battle that ended in 1945 have maintained power in the frame of global politics, where really the power lies in other countries. Germany, for example, is one of the largest economic powers in Europe, and is still not represented as a formidable nation because it is not included within that permanent set of nations. And another point of contention is basically how India is also not a part of that permanent list of nations within the United Nations. So now this brings me back to my topic. Now my topic might be slightly way off from what I've been talking to you about thus far. My topic is about the role of non-governmental organizations in our societies. In the sense that government itself may not be sufficient, government itself may not be effective, may not be efficient in dealing with the problems that we face. So for example, let's look at the context of sub-Saharan Africa. In sub-Saharan Africa, 70% of the world's HIV and AIDS cases reside within that region. But it is very shocking for you to note that only 13% of the world's population is represented in that region. So it is a case where such diseases have become so rampant as a result of many various factors which I will be covering from this point forward. So one particular factor is basically as a result of the gross overpopulation within the region. Now, all of us may say that, okay, but healthcare has improved, and our systems have improved, our societal systems have improved. Therefore, governments should be able to cope with this increase in populations. But really, it is a case where the governments are rather incompetent and have flawed public policy, which is why individuals fall through the cracks. It is a case where incompetence and corruption have belittled this entire system of governance. And therefore, it is now time for us to explore how we ourselves, as members of society, can solve the problems that governments may not be able to do so in the current day. So the reason why I'm talking about this topic of non-governmental organizations was because I had flown over to Beijing earlier this year to participate in the Harvard Model United Nations Conference, where I represented a specific NGO and on that same specific topic. And now what I understood from that entire research process and whatever I had done throughout the conference was the very fact that governments over there merely cannot solve the problem because it is that large. It is a case where governments are now barriers to entry for non-governmental organizations. Non-governmental organizations are not able to effect change within societies because the governments have not allowed them to effect change within society. Now, when I was in hedge fund China, I represented the Global Fund for the fight against AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. Now, the Global Fund has been a fund that has raised over $4 billion in the last financial quarter to try and solve this issue of HIV and AIDS. And within the region that it has worked in, within the region that it has functioned in, it has reduced the incidence of HIV and AIDS by over 30%. By over 30%. It is a case where we now see an organization that is not bound by political agendas, that is not bound by certain beliefs, that is not bound by certain obligations to members of society, is an organization that has deemed itself as being far more effective and efficient than any government has within the sub-Saharan African region. Now, this is a very shocking statistic because we have to understand that now it is the time for us to step away from the norm, to challenge that convention, and as someone pointed out at the start of today, is to be disruptive, to initiate that change in the very first place, to make sure that our society becomes a better place for each and every single individual seated over here. Now, let me break down the issue of HIV and AIDS in sub-Saharan Africa. It is a case where at first I told you that governments are incompetent, I told you that governments are corrupt, but it is also a case where universally the cost of healthcare and the cost of any form of medicine in the whole world is exceedingly high. It has come to a point where governments have to regulate the cost of antiretrovirals, drugs that are used to suppress the symptoms of HIV and AIDS to make that person feel better despite of the situation. And by doing these particular treatments and by placing these price ceilings to ensure that these drugs do not become too expensive, they are trying to increase the affordability of said drugs within these regions. And in some cases, they have made them free. Now, what this has done, although this is a positive thing, it has put massive burdens onto the government itself. The government has not been able to fund their own policies. The government has not been able to fund their own implementations. And secondly, it is also a case where research and development within these regions, because of the very fact that they are underdeveloped, because of the very fact that some of these landlocked countries do not have access to resources that we as a coastal nation in Singapore may have access to. Now, these landlocked countries, such as the Central African Republic, do not have exceedingly good diplomatic relations with countries that are bordering the sub-Saharan African region. They do not have good diplomatic relations with countries that could provide them with the resources they require to target these particular illnesses and to target these particular problems within their nations. But on the other hand, non-governmental organizations do. They have a large donor base, and in some cases, non-governmental organizations can be classified into two different areas. They can be non-governmental organizations that seek to campaign about specific issues, to raise awareness about these said issues. Or they can be operational NGOs. They can be operational non-governmental organizations that seek to effect change by being on the ground and trying to make a difference to our society. So, for example, I quote you the Inaugural Care Group. Now, the Inaugural Care Group is one of the organizations that has conducted massive amounts of research and development into this specific field. They have developed a vaginal ring that is coated with an antiretroviral drug which will seek to suppress the HIV infection from even entering the female body or being transferred in the very first case. Now, it is a case where we need to make sure that such research and development is fostered within our society. Such research and development is engendered within our society. And not merely a case where we say, oh, the governments will solve this problem. Now, the governments, ladies and gentlemen, have not been effective in solving these problems. And as such, I tell you that it is a case where we as members of society have to step up. We have to step up to the mantle. We have to understand the very importance of these non-governmental organizations. We have to understand that maybe it's a case where we should step away from the norm. Maybe it's a case where we ourselves should get involved in the process. Maybe it's a case where we ourselves should use our own social media means to make such issues, to project such issues into that, to make sure that each and every single member of our society understands the real consequences and the real ramifications of certain issues and the real ramifications of flawed governmental policy. And with that, I will end my speech. Thank you.